stay close to me. Tree tubes act like little greenhouses, so it lets the sunlight through. There's air holes, lets it get some circulation, air circulation, keeps the predators and stuff off. In the case of the ones that are outside of the fence, I'm using the full height, which is 5 feet, to get it above the browse level of deer, so that the tree is protected within the tube until it gets above the typical browse height of the deer. And at that point, even if they were to clip it off, it'll start branching at that point. So hopefully I can protect them from the deer. Now the moose are another issue, so probably going to have to keep a bunch of the tops of the trees from the clearing that I'm making out there. Keep the tops and kind of line it, I don't know, 3-4 feet away from each of the tree, kind of create a barrier so that the moose can't easily walk up and chew the tops of it. I mean, likely I'll lose some, but I'll just have to protect them as much as possible. The ones in here, where the moose got in before I closed the gates for the winter, came in and pruned all of the branches. No, branches off of every fruit tree, but it didn't destroy them. So, not a big deal. So I mean, can't count on that. Typically, moose would strip the whole thing or eat the whole top off, but they only chewed the ends of each of the branches, which was good. But anyway, inside this enclosure, I'll just put tubes up to that level because I'm going to keep them fairly dwarf because it's within the garden area where I'll have some annual vegetables and fruit as well. So I want the branching to start fairly low, like right here essentially, and start coming up and out, and then I'll keep them down below 10 feet or something. Some of them even less than that. But I don't really want branching below this point. That's why I can keep the tube up to that and then prune any branches that grow below that, prune them out afterwards. your toy? Cali, there's one over there, pup. Get your toy in the water. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6. Trying to figure out how many of the apple trees. I overwhelmed myself again with the number of trees, bushes, and other perennials that I ordered online, and I still have a bunch coming, more berry bushes. But what arrived, or what we had to pick up a couple of days ago, was there 20, 30 trees maybe, and then some blueberry bushes and other bushes. Just got to keep an eye on Cali here, because that turkey nest is like 30 feet from me. Making sure I don't throw anything in that direction, but she's wandering around smelling, so I'm not sure if she's picking up that smell. You leave it, Cali. Stay this way, pup. Anyway, I've got to get them all in, so I have all these dwarf apple trees, a couple of peach trees and other cherry, and a couple other things. I'm gonna have to get her out of there. Come on. Nope. Come on, this way. You need to stay away from that. Good girl. Yeah, that turkey is literally right at the edge of the thicker stuff, the spirea. The little large trees there. It's just beyond that, down below. So again, I got to keep her out of the way. And the turkey's probably been in here eating, so she's picking up the smell. Anyway, I've got all these bushes. I need to get them in. Overwhelmed with what I have to do again, like I do to myself every spring. Still have stuff, that trees that arrived last spring that I ended up just putting into pots, and now the roots are, it's getting root bound already, or the roots are coming out through the bottom of the pot, so I need to get those planted this year. But first I need to finish at least clearing the north side of that wildlife clearing, that food plot, so that I can get those nut and fruit trees in. So I'm gonna pick the dwarf apple trees, get them scattered throughout here, so this area is finished and it's protected from wildlife at least, and then I'll move on to the food plot, which means pulling some trees out, a few more trees to cut down, then pulling them out, chipping the branches for mulch to help create soil in that area, because it's just been thick forest for the last 100 years, and then cutting the logs into timber length, or firewood if it's too crooked or too small, or hardwood rather than all the softwood lumber in there. So like I said, rainy week, good week to plant, but I have to get some of that prep work done first, or as I'm planting, so it's overwhelming. 3 or 4 days probably of this, and then I can get back on to building the chicken coop. Ironically, in the past I would have eaten those turkey eggs if this was ancestral times. She had 6 on the nest at that point. She probably has another, I think they lay up to 12 per year, so she would be breeding each day with a gobbler or 2 around here and continuing to lay eggs. So I'd be eating those 6, and then hopefully she'd be replenishing the nest if she didn't abandon it. So I'd be eating those in the spring, but because we don't have that opportunity, or it would be too disruptive to the wildlife populations in this day and age, then the chicken coop actually does make sense for us to start raising chickens again like we used to. Raising chickens, but mainly as laying hens, and then some meat chickens too. But that's again a spring priority, so I've got to get that done before my chickens arrive in sometime in mid to late May. wolves howling there. Stay close to me. This is silver absinthe, and why I'm planting it right here at the cabin porch itself is that this is a bug repellent, especially mosquito repellent. So by having it grow right up in front of where I like to sit out in the morning especially, hopefully it helps keep the bugs down a little bit. I think I've got one more plant right there maybe, and then there's two over there, two here, one there. So that'll be a sort of a hedge of this aromatic absinthe. Probably keep it, I don't know, maybe just above that height. Just keep it there and try to thicken it out. What kind of bird that is? It's a crane.
see what I'm dealing with for soil conditions here and roots and rocks. This soil is actually way better than it is at the garden. Better, I wouldn't call it way better. So it's sandy, but at least it's black with some organic material in there. Hi, pup. Looking for birds? What I'll do is put some rows of trees running north-south with clover interplanting, so try to keep these separated by about 20 feet maybe, so sunlight can hit all sides of the trees, direct sunshine, and then pile up these windrows and then cut them up as I have time, even if it's over years, but certainly over the next year. Chip what I can. Firewood I'll just make more accessible, get it on the edges. Branches that I can chip, and then a few saw logs like those pines in front of you. Pines, firs, spruce. Some of the longer, that's completely rotten, that aspen, just like these 3 stumps here, deadheads. But yeah, windrow, 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 row of trees, row of trees, row of trees. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. It's going to be actually easier than doing just broadcasts like shotgun approach, because it's difficult to get the trees out. Like, I don't have time to clean up all the debris right now. So if I plant too many trees randomly, I won't be able to get the tractor or four-wheeler in here to skid logs out between the trees. But if it's in nice neat windrows, I can do that. Like this will probably be 2x4. Try to get that too buried deeply so I can pull it out with the winch. Thing like this. Trying to get these roots as spread out as I can. Some of them are nice and loose and long. So in every direction I'm spreading them out as far as they'll go, covering them in soil. Different depths so that it can get a nice even root distribution to absorb moisture, but also to hold the tree up a little bit better. And I have been putting a bunch of lime in the holes as well as all around the current and, you know, next 2 years worth of root spread, so that the pH is raised, because it's probably only about pH of 5 here, which is very acidic for fruit trees. I'd like it to get up around 6.5, so quite a bit of lime. And because it's sandy soil, I might have to do that every few years actually, until everything's really well established. The more organic material I can get in here, the more soil I can create, the less I'll need to do that. It'll start balancing itself out, especially as I keep the conifers and everything and the oak leaves back and get clover and a few other perennials growing well. Basically going to concentrate more on soil building over the next, say, 3 years. More on that than I am actually growing food for deer, I think. Like these fruit trees, for example, are not going to produce for years. In some cases, maybe I won't even see the production in the case of especially the nut trees like the hickory and sweet oaks and things like that. But hopefully this property stays in the family for generations, and either way it's going to be hopefully a great productive property for whoever's here for a long time. All these nut and fruit trees, the clearings, the management of the forest that I'm doing, cutting down unhealthy trees, freeing up the healthy trees and letting them grow stronger. So like I said, hopefully I'm leaving this in really good shape for the next generation. This is successional forest, don't forget. It's not like this was ever pristine wilderness. This land here was settled 150 years ago. It was clear cut, and kept clear for probably, I don't know, 25 years by historical records, maybe something like that. And like I found a wood stove way back in the deepest part of the bush here, for example, and looking at it now, you would think nobody's ever been there. But obviously somebody had a little cabin or something back there. So this would have been a tempted farm field 150 years ago. Got abandoned, I guess. This whole area did, essentially. And then that fire came through 100 years ago, about, from what I can see. So that means that this is all essentially a 100-year-old forest at most. So a completely different mix of trees likely that from what was here 150 years ago. It might have been predominantly hemlock, I would say. That would be more typical of this area. Probably white pine and hemlock. So pH I'm raising and adding this 1 bag of soil around each tree, and then backfilling and trying to mix that with the native soil so that the roots don't want to just stay in this improved soil. This is the wettest spring we've probably had in a decade at least. We've typically been getting these really dry springs to the point where the water levels drop really quickly and we get fire bans, like in spring, which is not what we're supposed to have. Supposed to have wet. So many moose droppings, literally every 10 feet in here. I guess I know they're walking around browsing on all these branches, and they're going to be in here like crazy for the next week or two. So I got to get these tree tubes on to protect the trees and prune them all below the top of it. Get the energy going into the roots instead of the tops, and that'll keep it protected inside the tube from the wildlife for this year. Alright, that's it. 75 fruit and nut trees planted this spring. There's 1920 right here in this, more than that, 25 in this little clearing. And I'm not done making this clearing, so I can't continue planting the perimeter of it. I can't do the annual and perennial herbaceous layer yet. Because I'm out of time. Things will get attracted to this clearing. Now, I won't ever hunt the actual clearing because with all that wildlife activity, it's hard to get in and out without spooking them. And if let's say I was deer hunting, for example, and I had a family of does come in and feed, and I don't want to shoot a doe because I'm trying to build up the population, I'm waiting for a more mature buck to get more meat and to help, like I said, the population grow. So if I'm focused on hunting that buck and he's the most cautious animal that's using this this food plot, or that he's coming to check on the does that are here, if I'm getting down from a stand or out from behind a tree or whatever and I spook the does off, then that's going to make them nocturnal likely, or some of them might even leave. And then I don't get an opportunity to harvest a buck. So that's the main reason I'm not ever going to hunt this. But what it allows me to do is pick trails. I've got trails. I already know the way the animals funnel through here. They did browse through this area, but there wasn't much food here, so they wouldn't stay for very long. But it's a really good funnel. So it was already a good hunting spot. So I know where the trails are that leave and come into this area. So what I'll do is I'll hunt those spots, hunt the trails, try to get as far back as I can from this food plot so I don't spook it. But like I said, it's not like I harvest an awful lot of game. There's limits, so I'll be benefiting wildlife much more than I'll be extracting and harvesting. I'm excited. I like watching wildlife. I like seeing lots of animals and birds. And this kind of clearing really increases the population of almost every species. So what am I moving on to? I need to get the chicken coop built, and that is the highest priority right now. So I'm going to stop planting, stop making this completing this food plot. Maybe I'll get back to it late summer, early fall. But I have to get on to these other projects, and the chicken coop is priority because I have chickens. There's a chicken fur and feather show coming up, and I'll be buying some chickens there as well as some from a friend. So I need to get that coop and the run built. So I'll start that tomorrow. And then 2 weeks from now I actually have another, I think it's 75 more berry plants, berry bushes arriving. I think blueberries, haskcaps, raspberries, blackberries. I'm not sure what else. I order these things always at the beginning of the summer or beginning of the winter. I forget what they are, but anyway, they're arriving the next couple of weeks, so I'll have to take another couple of days to plant in the thick of the bugs and the peak of the bug season, black fly season. But that's all right. It's no avoiding the bugs when you live like this. Bear hunting too, that's coming up. Well, that season actually started today, but I haven't seen any bears on any of my trail cameras, so I'm going to keep just checking, and season runs till June 15th, so I'm not in a real hurry. It usually gets better as the bugs get worse, so I'm sure that'll happen soon too. So yeah, for next week I'll have the chicken coop on there going. Maybe I'll be bear hunting as well. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it, and look forward to seeing you back here at the cabin next time. Take care. Here comes the rain.